Hey, Ecamm fam. Good morning, good evening, good lunchtime, whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome to sunny Edinburgh. My name's Martin McKenna, long-time Ecamm fam member. I don't actually work for Ecamm. I am to be seen a lot in the Facebook group, dropping out stuff and thinking up new ideas and hoping to inspire a few people to get creative. And with that in mind, I wanted to share with you today a little bit about what I've been doing with Ecamm interview mode, and in the wider sense of things, working with creating a whole bunch of profiles and assets that you can use to up your Ecamm game very easily. So to start off with, Ecamm Profiles. For those who haven't used profiles before, the profile you can think of as a giant folder that contains everything that you do with any particular run of show for Ecamm. So all of the different scenes, all the different camera placeholders, all the text placeholders, all the images in the background, absolutely everything. And you can save all of that into a profile and swap that with somebody else. So in this particular case, I have gone and designed a whole bunch of profiles and loaded them up to a site where you can download them. And literally with one click, you can go from a blank screen to a complete profile with a whole bunch of scenes preset in it. So if, like a lot of people, you don't have time to go and fiddle about and move all the boxes and line them up and then wonder whether your design's going to look any good or not, this is so that you can just go grab something off the shelf, like a bit like a ready-made cake mix, I take it. So you don't have to get all the tiny little ingredients that you need for your cake, and you know, a pinch of cinnamon and a pinch of baking powder and all that sort of thing to build up your profile. What you do is you get a ready-made cake mix and you add in a couple of eggs and some oil and stick it in the oven, and then maybe decorate it at the end. So the decoration is just choosing your different backgrounds and changing the colors around a bit. The standard stuff with the oil and the eggs is just changing some text. That's pretty much all it is, and maybe adding in a logo or two. So all of that you can do with these interview mode profiles. I've kind of started off with interview mode profiles because I think a lot of people struggle with lining up so many different boxes on the screen and getting it looking good. So there are 4 of these profiles currently, as we sit on February the 28th, up on my Stream Profiles store, which was labeled in the first scene there. So it's streamprofiles.sellfy.store. So all of these profiles can be downloaded from there. Each week, the intention at the moment is to do a special offer for the Ecamm fam. So you'll need to sign up within the store, the special offers, if you want to do that. But there's also some free stuff in there as well. It's basic stuff, but you can download it for free to have a play about with the kind of things that are coming up on the store. So there's a basic interview profile, there's an agenda type show and feel, how to do animated agendas, and then there's another one on lower thirds. So these are all basic stuff. More advanced versions will be paid, but if you in the first instance want to go to the store and download one of these, then you will need to go through the standard process for buying something in a shopping cart on the store, but you won't get charged. You'll then receive a link to that profile, click on the link, download the profile, put it somewhere safe. So by that I mean don't leave it in your downloads folder or on your desktop in case it gets sucked up to iCloud. So put it into your safe storage area for Ecamm assets. Now in most cases that will be an external SSD, as it is for me, but whatever is your safe space for Ecamm assets, put the profile in there. Then literally just double click on the profile with Ecamm open and it will automatically create a new profile for you. Once you have that new profile, the first thing I would say is just make a duplicate of it, because you're going to want to create your own run of show, which means you're going to want to chop and change and dump folders out that you're not going to use for that particular show, and I'll run you through what's in each profile in a minute. So those are the first couple of steps to do. The other thing you might want to do, because I'm not 100% sure about this, is I'm set to 4K streaming at the moment. If you don't do 4K streaming, then go up into preferences and just check that box and see if you want to set it to 180 or whatever is your streaming preference. So just very minor thing, but I'm not sure whether that comes across with the profiles or not. So that's the basics for the profiles. You automatically find that bing, up pops a profile for you. All the cameras are already set, so they're set to cameras A and then guest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we go up to 5 guests. Not more than that, because I don't think there's enough room on the screen for more than that many guests, frankly. And if you are interviewing more than about 5 guests, nobody has enough time to talk or to say anything. So that's why I've kept it to that sort of number at the moment. But all the camera placeholders are in there for every single guest, and literally you're going to turn this on and immediately you're going to see everything is looking pretty cool. So the first thing to do once you get into the profile is get your camera all set up on camera A, looking good how you want it to be, and then and that's, you know, your little zoom, and if you're using it, any of the temperature and brightness and LUTs and things like that. Once you've got all of those set up, then go into camera A, into the settings, scroll down to the very bottom and do apply in all scenes, and then it will take all of those settings and apply them into every scene in the profile. And the same is true for your guests as well. So once you've got the guest looking good, then use the same principle, look in the camera effects under guest 1, get it all set up, and then go apply in all scenes. And that way you don't have this situation where you move between different scenes and suddenly your image is changing a little bit in each scene and it doesn't look quite right. So really just some housekeeping. And I suppose I should say also, this particular video is not about how to teach you to use Ecamm. There's loads and loads of great teachers out there, including Alec Johnson, Adrian Salisbury, and some great stuff very recently by Neil Ferramond in the Ecamm community, and also people like Doc do regular lives. So other people will teach you how to use Ecamm. I'm not here to teach you how to use Ecamm. I'm going to kind of assume it's a bit of a prerequisite that you know what a scene is, you know what a folder is, and that you know how to use those. But I'm going to run you through some stuff in the background in a few minutes. But that really is pretty much all you need to do to get started. Set up your camera and then go in and change the placeholders for things like the host name, obviously. So in my case, Martin McKenna is going to appear down the bottom. So anytime Martin appears, you're going to want to go and change the name to your own name. And I have also taken the liberty of going through and naming everybody for guest 1, guest 2, guest 3 through to guest 5 with the same name, so that easily you'll know that when Martin appears, that's the name you need to change for the host. When Sheena appears, that's always guest 1. So you'll know that from the way they appear, and you're going to see those images in a moment or two. And the only other thing that you're going to want to change is the banner. Now, the banner, in this case, is to one side. That's set in show in all scenes, and the idea is that that is your show title, more or less. And some cases the banner's down the bottom, or you've got a banner at the bottom and at the side, so you may or may not want to choose different versions of the profile dependent on how much information you want to put into those banners. But bear in mind, they are going to show in all scenes, so if you want to put names and things like that into the banners, they're going to be in all scenes. Now, there is a way of changing that about a bit. We'll come back to that right at the bottom of the agenda. So for the moment, what I'm going to do is, you've already seen a few of the backgrounds in the intro there. So there are 10 different backgrounds you can choose between here, or you can drop in your own, or there's a color block background, or you can go change them all using things like tint and blend and blur. Those things are all built into the profile already, so that they're easy to do. But let's take you through a few of the different scenes very, very quickly, because there's no great point in hanging about on each of these scenes, because you'll see them in the preview, and you'll see me going through some of them as well. So I've got to start off with just a host on their own, and in fact what you'll find when you look at the profile is there's also a guest 1, guest 2, guest 3 through to guest 5 on their own. And the idea is that when you are running your show, you can have your Stream Deck set up, or your scenes if you don't have a Stream Deck, and just set them up with guest 1 solo, guest 2 solo. Press the button when you want to bring them on solo, press the button back to host plus 1 guest when you want to go back to that, and so on and so forth. So those are all set up for you. I've started off with a host plus comments, and those who are really observant will notice that my first scene looked very much like this, and that's something you can also do with the profiles, which is you can change the profiles about and use them for different purposes. So in that particular case I've changed this one to be an agenda profile in my first scene, so easily adjust those. You can use these placeholders and drop anything you want in on them really. So I've tried to keep the format nice and tight on this particular one. There's not a lot of room for actual logo branding here, but there is on some of the other ones. So on this particular one I just wanted to maximize the amount of screen estate for the cameras, so a couple of them I've done that with, and a couple I've left a little bit more room. So it really does depend on what you want the actual images to look like. But here we're going to go through, and there's a couple of different options each time. So here's option 1. If I've got a show where people are just saying hello and it's a very short comment, I might want this version of comments. If I've got a show where people tend to drop in long comments for discussion, then I can have a longer comment for discussion. 2 different options, and you can flick between version 1 and version 2 as often as you like. And host plus 2 guests, and I have got different versions of these, so some people will like that sort of tall version of the images. Other people might like something which is more like this, and potentially you could then duplicate this scene and have this with Sheena highlighted, or this with Neil highlighted, as is your want. So don't forget, you're not restricted to just having one version of each of these particular backgrounds. You can just duplicate the scene and then swap round the cameras and the names. So again, different versions, and I wanted to sort of chop this about a bit, and quite often we're seeing the same exact format appearing for interview scenes, and they can, it can get a bit repetitive. So the idea is that you can go and create something that looks a little bit different by having different versions of how you present your information to people. And as I say, you can play about with these. So if you wanted to drop off Neil there, for instance, and have a tall vertical comment section, then you can do that very easily with Ecamm. So play about with them. Different version, again, slightly to one side for the comments here, and I quite like that one. And we go on, and it's, as you would expect, 4 guests and comments, and then we'll come on to host plus 5 guests. Now, the reason for showing you this one is this is what the profile is going to look like when you get it, in terms of where the guests are lined up. And previously what you've seen above me was a load of placeholders for those guests sitting there. So when you get it, it's going to look like this. So don't be scared that there's not loads of pictures of people there. There's not going to be, because these are when your guests come in. So that's what it looks like. So all of the scenes will look like that, because I placed a little bit of a glow around each of the cameras, and that's to give me a kind of slight 3D effect going on, where you can see this around the edges, etc. So there's a tiny glow around the camera, and what it actually does there is puts everything to white in the background when it's doing that glow, and then it puts the image over the top. So that's what the different ones look like. Let's just come up to the agenda again for a moment. So with this agenda, I've just taken that same view and dropped in some text and put a little box over the top of the agenda, or behind where it says Ecamm interview mode, to reutilize this particular version of what I've got. So let me change some of the backgrounds, and I'm going to do that just here so you can have a look at what the different backgrounds are. So if I just hide that one, and we'll show that one. Quite cool. All sorts of different ones available to you, depending on what your style is. Now what we can also do is change some blends and colours on that. So I will do that for you also in a moment. Now here's some various different ones here. Let's go back up to one of these up here. If I come up to this one, I can also change the blend on that, as I mentioned. So I'm going to show you that in a minute in live demo mode, but let's just bring a blend on. So that's kind of a blue blend that I brought on there, but I can go in there and I can change that colour to anything I want. So an orange background, a purple background, it doesn't really matter. You can choose what you like, a red background, a green background. If you really want a green background, I wouldn't recommend a green background. Bizarrely, the brown background sometimes blends quite nicely. And a cyan background. Whatever you want, you can go in and change these. Now these are on, at the moment, on a gradient, but you could choose the whole lot to blend in. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to blend with the existing colours. So what will happen is you will not get a colour change where everything is a single colour if you keep a picture in the background. However, there is another version of this which I can bring on, which is just a colour block. So this is a colour block with a fade on it. I'm now going to go have a quick look at the colour block with the fade. We'll just make it a single colour. And it's now just picking up one single colour. And I can go through again and choose magenta or orange or whatever it is I want to do. Now because it's doing blend modes, the colour that you pick doesn't always correspond to what you think it might do. So I've chosen white just there, but it hasn't really made it white, it's sort of blended it a little bit. So there's some experimentation to be done there to get things to look how you want them to do. But I'll go back to gradient again and have two different colours. But you can have, basically what I'm showing you here is you can have something that's very, very simple, or something that's way more dramatic in the background, as is your want. Turn that blend off again, and that's my colour block background. Turn my colour block background off, and I'm back to one of the pictures that I had as a background in the first place. And as I say, you could drop in your own ones here if you really wanted to. So that's my different scenes, and I'm just going to show you what is in each one of those by going into live demo mode now. So I nearly always make a mess of live demo mode, but we'll do it anyway. So turning on live demo mode, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in over here to show you what's in the profile itself. So here we've got all of our different scenes, and you can see that they are carefully labelled up: host plus comments, host plus guest one and comments, etc, etc. So 19 scenes in total are all set up for you, all with the cameras and everything else set up. So here in this particular scene, we can see what I've got here. So what I've got in my current scene, and they're all labelled in folders. So for instance, if I want to get rid of my host and I want to gradually bring in a guest at a time, I could hide and show the folders to do that. If I decided, oh, I don't want the background, I'd rather have that without the background, I can turn the background off. By and large, if it says background, leave it alone, okay? It's in the background, don't touch it. Everything should be locked and sorted for you so that you can't accidentally do that. You'll have to physically unlock things in order to change the backgrounds, etc. But generically speaking, if it says background, leave it alone. Just come into the things that you're going to want to change. So in this case, I've got various different texts in different places, but if I wanted to come in and change my name, then clearly I can just come in, press the edit text box and go change my name. And I can just copy and paste that bit of text and put it into the different scenes where my name appears, and you're going to have to do that. That's the little bit of work that you do have to do, is each time somebody's name appears you're going to have to cut and paste it to the scenes that you're going to want to do. Now it's not going to be that much of an effort, because if I've just got one guest on, then I've only got host plus one guest plus comments, one plus comments, two. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 scenes at the most that you would do. Because what you would do if you're creating your own run of show, you'd come in and say, how many guests have I got today? I've got one guest. Right, I've duplicated the profile, I'm going to label it one guest for February the 28th, and then I'd go delete all the other bits that I don't need. So just delete the folders that you don't need at all, just get rid of them. So those are the only bits you're going to have to change on that. The other thing there is your banner, which sits in showing all scenes, and again that's got some text in the background. Leave the background alone, but go and change the text if you wish to. So go and change that text same way as you would any other text. You can do that in various different banners, and in some of the banners you can even hide and show little bits of text. So some have got text at the left, text at the right. You may want to hide that, and you may want to only show text in the middle. Entirely up to you, but you can go play about with those banners if you want to. So banners, let's shrink the banners down. Let's shrink this down for a moment and show you what's at the bottom of the screen as well. So there's a few different bits in here. So first of all, I guess in here you've got all your different backgrounds. So let's have a look. I bring in the neon background just by turning one on, turning one off. Simple as that. Select the one you want, turn it on or off. Easy. If you want to make changes to that, you also have the option to use the tint and blend that I did earlier on. So come up, change the colour, choose magenta, choose orange, whatever it is you want to choose, and you can change the tint and blend. So what I need to do there though is make it visible, which would help. So in this case, uncheck that and then it will go magenta. Then it's back to its normal colour. So check that. There's also a blur option as well. So if I uncheck the blur, you'll see that my images are slightly blurred in the background, and for some that might look really good. So have a look at those and decide what you want to do. And there is also the motion background as well. So with the motion background you can turn it off if you want to. If you've got a low powered Mac and system resources are an issue, then pretty much you might want to just take that and put it in the bin. I've not found any problems at all with it, but I am running a Mac Studio. So if you're finding anything's looking jerky or a bit mad in the background, then go get rid of that. So I might pause for a second here, guys, because my speakers have gone a bit mad in the background. So let me zoom back out again for a second. I'm going to come out of live demo mode and go and make a cup of tea for a second or two while I go sort this out, and then I'll come back. Out of live demo mode, and I'm actually down here in my system settings. In fact, I'm just going to turn the music off. That'll be the easier thing to do. So music back off and back out of live demo mode. But I did mention the motion background, so I should pop back in to have a look at the motion background. Some people don't like them. I think it really adds something. So if I go back to the title screen, sorry, muted myself there. So here's my title screen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the motion background and make some changes in the motion background. So here I've got my motion background just very, very lightly appearing. Go away melodic music for the moment. So my background's very gently appearing at the moment, but I'm going to go to the motion background here, and I am actually going to change the opacity, just out of interest, so that you can see what that looks like if you start turning it up. So you can go totally mad with the motion background, and you can go change some of the blend modes on it as well, and it will do all sorts of bonkers things. but I like to have it just showing in the background gently, so it's not doing anything too overly dramatic. So let's bring that on with, for instance, the wave background, because I kind of like the way it just rolls around with the wave background. So motion background is available to you should you wish to use it. All of those other elements are available should you wish to use it. So tint, blend, blur, motion backgrounds. Other things that you might want to do is, and this is assuming you now know what you're doing with Ecamm a little bit more. So you can obviously make duplicates of scenes. That's not going to be a problem at all. You can obviously delete scenes completely, assuming you've made a copy of the profile, no problem. So make a copy of the profile, then chop it and change it to however many guests you've got. Other things you might want to do, should you wish to, is drag and drop some of those individual folders into new scenes. So if there's part of a scene that you like the look of with an individual in a particular box, you might want to try dragging and dropping the folder and the background associated with that into a different scene, so that maybe top corner you've got a little box with somebody in it and you want to use the rest of the screen for something else. So you can do that sort of thing if you want to. If you want to use the banners in individual scenes, you could also just take a copy of the banner folder, drop it into the individual scene rather than show in all scenes. So you'd need to hide it in show in all scenes, and then to drop it into each individual scene and then relabel it. So if I want that banner to say Martin Ecamm Live in this one and Sheena Ecamm Live in another one, then I can do that. I just need to copy that banner into the top of each scene. So those are sort of some standard changes you can make. If you know what you're doing with Ecamm and you want to do further changes, then you can do so as well. This is a brilliant basis to start with, and we've even got in the background a grid as well. So in showing background, there's a little grid. So if you're making changes and you want to align things, then you can do so utilizing the grid. Just set the opacity up and down a little bit, and that's your grid in the background. So I think that's me got from top to the bottom of that agenda. I've not made that agenda automated. I can do, and you will get some downloads for that in the future. If you want to be kept up to date with everything that's going on within the profiles, keep an eye on the Facebook group. Also look out for me on the YouTube channel, which, dependent on how you've come across this video, you may already be on the YouTube channel. If you haven't got to the YouTube channel already, it's at Stream Profiles. Maybe you're seeing this somewhere else, but that's the YouTube channel. The store is streamprofiles.sellfy.store, and I'm in the Ecamm group all the time. If you want to reach out to me, you can DM me, or you can send me a message via the store, and I will come back to you and see if I can help out. The only other minor note that I would say, one or two people, when they've gone to download the profiles, for some reason they don't get a link from Sellfy. Nothing to do with me, but Sellfy sometimes doesn't like certain email addresses. So I would recommend that the first thing you do is choose something that's free, go through the store, see if the link comes through and you can download it. 99% of people seem to be able to do that, but occasionally, in particular if your email has been associated with any sort of marketing activity using automated tools, Sellfy will reject it. So if you do have that problem, try a different email address. But obviously the easiest way to test that out is to do it with something free first of all, rather than pay for something and then find out for some reason it doesn't get delivered. As I say, hardly anybody's come across that problem yet, but we will see. It's all brand new. It literally is launching on the 1st of March, and you can go have a look at it there. There will be a discount code coming. In fact, the discount code is already coming today, but I'm going to leave that for Katie to be announcing on the Office Hours show in a couple of hours time actually. So Wednesday the 28th of February, as I'm recording this at the moment. Potentially in the future I might do some sort of more broken down versions of this so that it's more bite-sized chunks, but hopefully This has been enough for you to be able to go in, grab a profile and have a look at it, even if it's just the free profile for interview mode. Go in, grab it, have a look at it, get the look and the feel, and begin to understand how the folders are all structured. They're labeled nicely, and hopefully they're going to be easy to understand, and this will be something that will get you from just starting with a blank screen to looking like this in literally minutes. So that's the general idea. As I say, there's going to be a code for discounts coming, and yeah, keep an eye on this space or on the Ecamm Facebook group, and you'll see that code. But the idea is that there'll be a code most weeks for something discounted, and perhaps some freebies as well. So the easiest way, if you want to keep track of everything to do stuff, would be to join the mailing list through the Sellfy store, or to just subscribe to the YouTube channel, and do the normal follow me, alert me type thing that you do on YouTube. Anyway, that's me. I don't know how long I've talked for, but probably quite a while. Just over half an hour, I think. And it's got to be time for me to go get a drink and have a wee sit down. So cheerio from Edinburgh, and enjoy yourself with these profiles. Bye for now.